but also it's just really hard. And I just wondered if like how you've dealt with that you have any feedback on how we mix the two. I don't know, any advice, any word.
Well, that's a great question. It's a great topic to have a discussion about. It is difficult. It is very, and it's a lot of conflict that's going within our minds and our souls and our body, because as you stated, he said, and that was in Deuteronomy 28, he said that, I'm going to rejoice over you to destroy you. Well, that in context is dealing with the time in which he decided that, you know what, I'm going to put an end to the rebels. I'm going to destroy them. For us right now, which I want to discuss today, which is totally appropriate for our topic today, is how Yah is letting us know how he feels about the generation that he had took out of the land of Mizraim. A lot of the writings that have been spoken are to give us instruction about how the Creator sees things and how he views his people, and how you and I must be the ones who have to turn. And he's using them as an example, right? And he's using what he did to them, like, hey, I'm gonna have you eat your kids. I'm gonna throw you out the land. I'm gonna destroy you with pestilence. I'm gonna have animals eat you and rob you of your children. I'm gonna destroy you. And when you get to the land that you get to, I'm gonna, you're gonna pine away, and the sword's gonna chase you till I completely destroy you. So it's scary, and it makes us feel like, wow, is there any possible way that we're going to be able to make it out of this? And how could you celebrate knowing these things? Well, in our topic today, Koti Azanya and everyone else listening, we're going to be discussing the idea of our Torah portion that deals with what your question is about. How do you respond, and how do you, deal with this time? Yah told us in the book of Zephaniah, right, meaning to conceal or the treasure, that Yah understands how we feel, that we are, dealing with reproach as a people. And, we can't keep the festivals the way that he's asked us to. We don't have the offerings that he's asked us for. We don't have literally anything that he's asked us for. And it is very shameful when you think about it. It's very shameful for us. And a lot of us don't know how to handle that, and it's hard. But I believe too that he's allowed that to happen to us, and to bring us to a point where we will come to acceptance of his authority and his power. And it proves the fact that he means what he says. That's all this means. I mean what I say. If I tell you that if you don't do what I'm saying, I'm going to scatter you. If I told you that if you don't follow my Torah, I'm going to destroy you. That's what it is. It's a wake-up call. And that's what this Torah portion is about. It's called Ha-Azanu, okay? Ha meaning the what? To listen to what I'm saying. Open your ears and pay attention to what I'm telling you, okay? The Torah portion in Davarim 32 is a song, which they would say the Song of Moshe. There's a lot of different songs, S-O-N-G-S, that's in the Torah and in the Tanakh. Yah uses songs to give messages, and to tell us to remember. So there's something very interesting about this in particular song that he's telling Moshe. Several pieces of it, he begins to open up and tell the heavens and the earth, which we're going to get into. Then he talks about how, Yisrael, what he's done for them, how he's protected them. Then he goes on, about how he's protected them. Then he goes on talking about how he's provided for them. Then he goes on to talk about what his plan is to do for the nations. And then in conclusion, he tells us what he's done to Moshe. This has been about, the words that Yah says there will be a testimony, right? And it opens up with this word ha-azanu, okay, which comes from our word azan. Azan, like azanya. Azan means to hear, okay? And it means to listen, right? So you got the hearing and you got the listening, right? And more than anything, I need you to pay attention, very careful. So this is something that he wants us to pay attention to. I need you to pay attention. I need you to open up your ears. Azan means to listen and hear, but it comes from the Hebrew word ozen, and an ozen is an ear. Okay. That's what I need you to open up. And the agricultural, remember in the Hebrew culture, everything is connected to agriculture. Okay. So I'm going to break this down. I thought about it this morning. I didn't have a slide because I said, well, I don't want to take up too much of the time today. I want everyone to still be in celebration mode, but let's deal with this word azan. Okay. So what we're going to do is we understand that in the Hebrew, there are 3 letters that make up a root. In this case, it's the aleph right here. Okay. A-L-E-P-H. The next one is a Zion, Z-A-Y-I-N. And this one here is a Nun, N-U-N. Okay. Each of these letters represent something. Aleph represents an ox head, which deals with the strength. And I'm sorry if you can't. Can you guys see the green, or should I change to another color? I think I should change
to another color, like black or something.
Color, yeah, because I just can't. I don't see it. So here it is. Okay. So here is the aleph. Okay. And the aleph represents strength of an ox head. The Zion, Z-A-Y-I-N. Okay. That represents a cutting tool that's used for agriculture. Okay. It's like a plow. Okay. In the design of a plow that will go into the dirt. Okay. It's a madak. It's like a hoe, like it tears up the roots of the ground. Okay. And this one here is the Nun, which has to do with a seed. And a seed is what you plant in the ground. Okay. So we have agriculture. We got the ox. You got the mattock, M-A-T-T-O-C-K, I think. And what they would call a hoe, right? Which would tear up the roots. And then you got the seed, which is life. All right. So where do you get this idea of your ear and opening? Well, generally, this in particular tool here was wide. Okay. It was wide, W-I-D-E. It had a wide blade, okay, on the end of it, and an ox, and it was attached to an ox, and an ox will pull it. And as it was pulling it, it would tear up the ground, and it would, like turn over, like rototilling. Okay. So there's the idea of this blade being wide to cut down into the dirt. So there's a sense of having wideness and to be broad. Okay. So a broad blade. All right. So the ear, when he's asking us to listen to him, he's talking about broaden your ear. Open your ear very, very wide. I need you to carefully listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is very important. We're at the end. Moshe was at the end of his life. Yah then told him in the Torah portion to go up on this mountain and go there and die to go be with your fathers. I thought, well, surely that's the best death that anyone can have, is hearing those words, that you're going to die like your brother and you're going to be joined to your people just like he was. But you're not going to enter the land because you didn't show me as being set apart and being kadosh among the people. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later. So this azan here means to broaden your senses, open up your ears. Okay. Your ear, which is very important, is a place of balance. Okay. Like that's why you have 2 of them. Okay. So they're your balance. They're your scales. Okay. That's what an ear, and an ozen means a scale too. Okay. So your ear, Yah uses your ear to put things on a scale. So what I want you to do is I need you to open up your ears. Okay. That's what I want you to do. I need you to open up your ears. I need you to widen and open and make them broaden, so you can broaden your understanding. Your ears, of course, as a balance of the scales, like you would in a, you're measuring something out. Okay. So the scales, so you got 2 of them. You got one on this side and you got the second one over here. Okay. So I have to give this information to you so you can weigh out what it is, to where everything would be balanced and be scaled, right? So it would be level, right? Because that's what it is. And these scales here also too tells you about what? It tells you about justice. I want you to know, I want you to measure this out. So you got to be paying attention, right? So that's the idea of that. That's why he's using this word. And this is why at the end, Moshe is going to tell us the things that he wants us to know. All right. So I want you to keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. This word azan also too has a few other meanings, like if you take this aleph off here and you got zana, and zana has to do with whoredom. Okay. It has to, and why? Because what a whoredom is, she is very broad. She spreads herself broad to a whole bunch of different people. Okay. Right. Again, zan has to do with the idea of harvest, because that's when you would use that plow. See, that's when you would use this instrument, this implement of cutting, to be able to do a harvest, because now it's time for the harvest. So in this in particular book, and in this in particular part of the scroll, in this in particular song, S-O-N-G, it's still going to be part of the Torah. It's not separate from the Torah. It is part of the Torah. It's not the final, but it's almost the final thing that Yah says. Okay. So when studying this book and this part of the scroll, Yah is telling you that I'm about to do something. Excuse me. I need you to open up your ears, because I'm about to show you what I'm about to do. I'm about to harvest. And before I harvest, so harvest has to do with the time, like our Moedim, which is appropriate. You and I are celebrating Sukkot right now, because what? It is called the in what?
Gathering.
In gathering. This is the in gathering of what? Of the harvest. So when y'all listen, when he's bringing us through these Moedims, people, he's telling us what he's going to do. Think about it. I want you to think about it. When he says celebrate Pesach, what does he want you to remember? In Feet of Matzah, what does he want you to remember? What's Pesach have to do with?
How he brought us out.
I brought you out, but also I killed who?
Yeah, the firstborn.
I killed the firstborn. Okay, I want you to remember that. And I brought you out, but I had to kill a whole bunch of people. Do you understand? I killed people. I give nations for your lives. There's a cost. There's a balance. There's a measurement for everything. Okay, so that's Pesach. What is matzah? What does matzah remind you of?
Unleavened bread, eating it for 7 days.
Unleavened bread for 7 days, right? But why does he want us to remember the 7 days of unleavened bread?
Because we were being chased. We didn't have time for it to rise.
Because it's time for you to move out quickly, and I fed you bread. You understand? When I took you out of Mizraim. So that's connected to Mizraim, right? Right? Shavuot, which is connected to first fruits, as we learned about a week and a half ago, which is Shavuot, is the Feast of Sevens. Shavuot has to do with the 7 weeks of the Omer, which means of the harvest, the first harvest, which I gave you the Torah when I brought you out of where? I brought you out of where? Where did I take you from? I took you out from Mizraim, and I brought you out into Mount Sinai. And when I brought you to Mount Sinai, what did I give you? What did I tell you at Mount Sinai? I told you my 10 words. And I also gave instructions to Moshe to teach you the Torah. That's what I gave. I gave you 10 words, and then I told Moshe to come up so I can give him the Mishpatim and the Kukim and the Pekude and all the other things that you could not bear to endure. That's a reminder. And also, too, it reminds you of the first fruits, because when you get those first fruits, that is when I'm going to remind you that I promised your ancestors to give them land. So I want you to be reminded of that, too. That's why I asked you to come, and don't come to me empty-handed at this festival, okay? Yom Teruah. That's the next one. What is Yom Teruah about? Yom is day. Teruah is what? A blast. the blast of the shofar, the blast, to let you know that what? That judgment's coming. I'm about to make a proclamation. So I'll do this on the 7th month, on the first day. Okay, I'm gonna make a proclamation that judgment's coming, right? That whether or not you're gonna make it into the book or not, right? And so 9 days later, we got a day called what? What's the next one? What is the 6th Moedim? Yom Kippur. And what do I want to tell you about Yom Kippur? I'm going to tell you whether and why is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Why? Why do I want you to atone? Somebody tell me, why did I ask you to atone? What did you do, Yisrael, in the wilderness?
Calf.
You made a golden calf when Moshe was up there getting what?
The 10 words. Yeah.
When he was when he was receiving the 2 tablets with the Lukoth, with all the Torah and everything, you were down there making a golden calf and you were partying. So I told you, no, you need to make atonement, because at this moment, I was going to decide whether or not I was going to blot you out of the book. So instead of you partying on this day, I need you to be quiet and I need you not to eat. That day that you were having a party with the golden calf, we're going to switch that up. Now you're not going to eat anything and you ain't going to celebrate nothing. See? So it's a reminder again about what? Me sparing you and delivering you from death. Finally, after that's over and my anger is gone, then I'm going to have you go into Sukkot. And why do I want you to remember Sukkot? What does that have to do with? I told you that you lived in the wilderness with me for 40 years. Okay. And I sheltered you for 40 years with no one else to guard and protect you. I did that for you. And it reminds me and you of what I did for you. That whole time that you were there in the 40 years, I was training you and I was preparing you. So what are you and I to understand about his Moedim? Well, the answer to that question is that they point you to different times, and Sukkot is a time of ingathering. And there's different times for different seasons. So every one of his Moedims are applied to a different season. Shavuot has to do with the first fruits. And at that time, you're supposed to bring something to me. I want those. And guess what? In order for you to have first fruits, in order for you to have the ingathering, you need water. You need for me to give you the rain. I need to give you the latter rain and the early rain. Okay? Or the early rain and the latter rain. The early rains, and then you have the latter rain. It's not a trick question. When's the early rain? What season? Spring or fall?
Oh,
It's fall. Latter rain is the spring. So you need water. And the water is connected to the Torah. Same root that's used for Torah is the same one for rain. If you don't do what I say, I cut this off. You don't do the Torah, you don't get any rain. You don't get any rain, you're not getting anything. You're not going to bring me nothing. Absolutely nothing. I train you and I teach you through agriculture. That's why I created the heavens and the earth. And that's why I created the rain. And that's why I created the seasons. This is the reason why I gave you the land. It's not only to feed you, it's to teach you. Oh, you better hear what he's telling us today. I know you feel bad about not being in your land. I know you're depressed. That's on purpose. To get your attention, so you would ha'azanu, that you would listen to what I'm telling you today, that you would open up your ears and broaden your understanding and know what I'm about to do, because I've chosen these times in order to remind you. I told you if the nations don't come and celebrate Sukkot, I'm destroying them. And guess how I'm going to do it? I'm going to take away the rain. You don't have any rain, you automatically go into famine. I'm laughing because I'm seeing what he's saying. I promise your father's land. Land means sustenance. It means animals. It means plants. It means people. That's everything that I gave you. You're not blessed. You're in the lands of your enemies, where you don't have any animals. You don't have any vegetation. You don't have any blessing. You might have some occasional times of feeling good in Ashrei. You might have a few dollars and go buy a car and drive around and go to the movies. You might be able to eat, some of the foods you want to that are poison. Your situation is a grave situation. And I made it so you can remember. I'm telling you, don't play with me. I'm the living Elohim. I made all things, and you're going to have to understand it. So open up your ears. Open them up and listen to what the King of the universe has said. He tells Moshe in chapter number 31 of Devarim, therefore write this song for yourselves and teach it to the people of Israel. Have them learn it by heart so that this song can be a witness for me against the people of Israel. I'm writing out songs and documentation to prove my case, to let you know that I know what's going on. I know what you're going to do before you do it. I know. I sent you in exile. I know when you got there what you were going to do. I knew you were going to serve this God, this hippie on a stick. I knew that you were going to believe the Greeks and Romans, that I'd sent somebody to die for you. I knew all that. I know that you're going to suffer and be killed in the streets. I know it. I know you're going to be destroyed. I know that too. I know you're going to be grieving over not being able to do what I told you. I have done this to make sure that you get it. Okay, he knows. He says, for when I brought them into the land, I swore to their ancestors, flowing with milk and honey, they have eaten their fill. They have grown fat. They turned to other gods, serving them and despising me and broken my covenant. I know they're going to do these things. I know they're going to be a whore. I know they're going to broaden themselves and give themselves to people. I know that when I sent them in there, I told them not to make a covenant with these people. I told them to destroy them, have no pity, and burn down their altars, smash down their pillars and stones. I told them to do it, and I know they're not going to do it. I know that they hate me and they despise me. I know that too. I want to show you my character. I want to show you what I know. He knows. I know then, after many calamities and troubles have come upon them, this song will testify before them as a witness, not only the Torah, but this song too, because their descendants will still be reciting it and will not have forgotten it. Why? Because I wrote it down for you. For I know how they think even now. Even before I brought them into the land the land about which I swore to their fathers. You think that I don't know what you're going to do? You don't think that I know your heart? You think I'm ignorant and I'm dumb and stupid to what you're talking about? David had already told you that I wrote down all of your days in the book. I know what you're going to do. I know whether or not you love me. I know whether or not you're going to break my commandments. I know it. You can fool everybody else. You can even fool yourself, but I know you. A song in Hebrew is called a shirah. A shirah. Shirah. You understand? And it's used for testimony. I told you guys, when you study the Hebrew language and you study the letters and you study the roots, I told you to sing it. The reason why I told you to sing it is because this is the way that Yah has designed his people to learn, is through songs. That's why David wrote all those songs. That's why the Leviim was in front of the temple singing these songs. Because I want you to understand what I'm about to do. If you sing it, you have an emotional connection to it. You would know. You see? Hallelujah. This is what he says. This shira, this song that Yah gave us. He said, "Hear, O heavens, as I speak. Listen, earth, to the words from my mouth." This is what Moshe's first words that came out of his mouth. He told the children of Israel to memorize. Ha'azanu is not just about us listening. He's telling the heavens to listen. That's who he's talking to. That here, O heavens, is Ha'azanu, O heavens, Shamayim. Listen, earth, to the words from my mouth. This is a testimony to the two witnesses that Yah has chosen that can be relied upon because they always show up and they do what he says, and they are his work of his hands, and they are his servants as well. These are the ones that he uses to bring about the judgment. This is what Yah has designed the heavens and the earth for, to be testimonies. You think the sun is in the sky just to give light? Wrong. It's for signs and seasons and times and months and days and years, but also too is to be a witness. It's an oath. You think the earth is just supposed to provide fruits and vegetables? The earth is here to say, I'm not going to do any growth or anything because Yahweh told me not to let anything grow for you. He told the heavens, if you don't do what he says, then I'm going to turn the heavens into powder and dust. I'm going to turn the heavens into bronze and the earth is iron. I'm going to turn it where nothing will grow because they listen to Yah. Yahweh is their Elohim too, people. He's not just our Elohim, he's their Elohim. He's over them too. He says, listen to the words, the divrei, the words that come from my pi. My pi is my mouth. Not only is a pay a mouth, but pi means that which comes from my mouth, which is a command. He's not asking for him just to listen to the words that come in his mouth. He's saying, listen to the command that I'm about to give. Yah has chosen Moshe to be his servant and to speak on Yahweh's behalf. Oh, you better hear what he's saying to us today. May my teaching fall like rain. Why? Because without rain, nothing will ever grow. May my speech condense like dew. What is dew like? Well, dew appears when nobody's watching. It's on the grass in the morning. It's there early. Like the light rain on the blades of grass and the showers on growing plants. Meaning that there's a time. There is a time for this. You understand? For I will proclaim the name of Yahweh. Hear what he says. This is what he said. And sometimes we get this confused. Moshe is saying, I will proclaim. I will kadra the shimka of Yahweh. And then he tells, listen to me carefully. He tells in this song right here, this word here, come. That is a command. Come and declare the greatness, the Godol of our Eloheinu, our Elohim. He's not talking to the people. He's talking to the Shamayim and the Uvarets. He's telling them to come and declare the greatness of Yah. In Psalm 50, it is the sun that will declare the righteousness of Yahweh by what? By heating up and destroying the people on the earth with fire. It's not going to be magical, people. Yah is going to use the earth, in which he always has, to bring upon his judgments. So he's talking to the heavens, telling them, listen, in the earth, come, declare the greatness of our Elohim, because I'm going to proclaim and I'm going to ascribe something to Yahweh. What I'm going to ascribe to him is what? Mishpat. Mishpat is judgment. I'm going to ascribe judgment to Yahweh. Why? Because the rock, his work is perfect. Yahweh is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. All of his ways, all his dazrakah, every path that you and I take has to have judgment. It has to be balanced. And Yah is bringing judgment upon the earth, and he's bringing judgment upon his people, and he's bringing judgment upon all and who and everyone who has gone against him. He says, a trustworthy Elohim who does no wrong. I don't care how many people die and how many people get killed by Yahweh, it's not wrong to him because he's righteous and he's straight. And guess what? You and I are to be righteous. We're supposed to be Zadik and Yashar. Those are those two words right there of righteous and straight. Our creator is righteous, and therefore his people must be righteous and they must be straight. Yashar. That means that you are straight up as an arrow. You're not bent. You're not crooked. You're supposed to be straight in your ways. You're supposed to be straight in your thoughts. You're supposed to be straight in your path. He is not corrupt. There's no corruption in our Creator. The defect is in his children. The defect here is the moon. The imperfection is in us. It's not in him. A crooked and perverted generation of people who are twisted in their thinking. He's not twisted in your arm and your leg. He's talking about your mind. He's talking about your thought processes. That's what he's talking about in this song. And he's letting the heavens and the earth know why they're going to bring upon this judgment upon his people. Listen carefully. The word quanah here means that Yah says that I am jealous. But not only am I jealous, why am I jealous? I'm jealous because of that which I acquired. Something that I've got for myself. Quanah has several meanings. It means to be jealous. It means to possess. It means to acquire. It means to take. Why? Because I have taken the children of Israel. And he said, listen, you foolish people, so lacking in wisdom. Is this how you repay Shalom Yahweh? He is your father who bought you. That word bought there means quanah. I purchased you. I bought you. You belong to me. You are my possession. You understand? You belong to me. And it was he who made and established you. This is all through the Tanakh. It's all through the prophets. Yah has bought us. You understand? He's paid a cost for us, and you and I belong to him. He made us and he established us as his people. But he says that you're foolish. You're naval. You don't think, and you're lacking in wisdom. A person who is foolish is a person who will come to ruin because you don't think. You don't use any wisdom. So if you notice, it's always talking about how you and I think. It's always talking about what you and I are doing and what our thought processes are, about calculating. How do we calculate things? How do we go through this life? Are we just walking around aimlessly with no purpose, no legacy? Yah says that you're my legacy. I have a legacy, and I'm going to let you know what it is today. I have an inheritance because I bought you. When Elyon gave each nation its heritage, everything that it possesses. When he divided the human race, he assigned the boundaries of the peoples according to Israel's population. But Yahweh's share was his own people. Yaakov, his allotted heritage. You and I belong to Yah. Therefore, you and I have to be like him. We have to be mindful of the things that he said. He said that he's Elyon. He tells us, he calls us Elyon. That's the highest level of the degree of thinking, the highest level, you understand, of acceptance of that which is right. You are Elyon. When he divided these things up, he said, I'm going to set Israel apart from myself. You understand? Here in Bamidbar, guess what he says? From the top of the rocks, I see them. And in context, this is Balaam telling Balak the blessing of the children of Israel. He says, listen, from the top of the rocks, I see them. From the hills, I behold them. Yes, a people that will dwell alone. When Yah purchased us for himself, the goal is for Israel to dwell alone, to be separated, to be Kwadosh. I want to make you Kwadosh. You cannot be Kwadosh when you're not dwelling alone. And I don't want you to think of yourself as being part of the nations, because when I made the nations, I made them according to your numbers. When I separated them, it was based upon the numbers of the sons of Israel. I took you out from those people to be a special people to me. So you don't need to think of yourself as one of the nations. You don't need to do what they do. You don't need to eat what they eat. You don't need to dress like they dress. I've chosen you are a holy and special people to me. So you got to stop thinking of yourself as one of these people, because you're not. You're not like them. You're not. And he says, who has counted the dust of Yaakov or numbered the ashes of Israel? May I die as the righteous die. May my end be like theirs. This man, this seer, this so-called prophet wanted to die like us. He wanted to be like one of the sons of Israel. He understood that we were not to be like one of these nations. There's something peculiar and there's something different. There's something special and amazing about who you are. Therefore, it demands a certain type of mindset. And it has to start with how you think. Yah has set us out into this place that we are right now, into the nations, to cause you to think about what's happened to you. I want you to see the wickedness and the disgusting practices of these people. I want you to see that they teach children how it's okay to be a homosexual. I want you to see with your eyes that they say that it doesn't matter if you're a male and female, you could dress up like a woman and you're a man. I want you to understand and see and comprehend and take it in to see that, guess what? Don't call me a man anymore. I'm an it. I want you to see that every menu that you go to, every restaurant, there's nothing but pork and uncleanness on it. I want you to see that the women, how they dress out here, are like whores, and they turn your daughters into whores. I want you to see how they turn your sons into nothing but clowns to stand on the street and play nothing but games all day long. I want you to see it. I want you to see that there's no justice from these people. I want you to see that their gods have not delivered you. I want you to see it. I want you to think about it. I want you to understand it. I want you to azanahu. I want you to open up your ears and broaden your understanding. This is why these things are written. Is because this man wanted to die like you. He wanted his end to be like ours. He wanted to be gathered to his people like Moshe and Aharon. That's what he wanted. He understood something, and you and I haven't been paying attention to the details, and that's the reason why we're going through what we're going through. There is no foreign Elohim among you. Yahweh has declared, Yahweh alone led his people. No alien God was with him. This is a testimony to us, against us. But it's a testimony that was given to the heavens and the earth, that he's declaring in front of them that I alone have led his people. No alien God, no foreign God, no stranger, no one from a distant place. I did it by myself. Ain't nobody did nothing for you. I've done it. Listen to what it says about Midbar. The same seer, Balaam, said this after he just said you should dwell alone. Elohim, who brought them out of Mizraim. Elohim, who brought them out of Mizraim, gives them strength of a wild ox. Thus, one can't even put a spell on Yaakov, and no magic will work against Israel. It now can be said of Yaakov and Israel, what is this that Yahweh has done? What do you mean, what is this what Yahweh has done? Yahweh has never done this for anybody else. There is no witchcraft and no magic and no spell that can ever be put on you and I. So when you think about the craft of Christianity or the craft of some other religion or the craft of witchcraft and spells and sorcerers, nobody can do anything to us. It's you and I who have done these things to ourselves. It's because of our own crimes that you and I are in the situation we're in today. It's not because there was a spell put on us. You don't have no spell. It's because you failed to do what Yahweh says. He is the one who brought us out of Mizraim. Every one of our Moedim points you back to him, bringing us out of Mizraim. He's the only one alone who has done this. Yah gives us a name called Yesharum. Yesharum. What does Yesharum mean? Yesharum was a nickname that Yah gave to the children of Israel. And in this in particular song, he mentions this name. This nickname has to do with the idea of the word Yashar. Yashar. Yashar is in this root called Yeshurun, and Yashar means to be upright. So he is called the upright one. This is how Yahweh sees Yisrael's end. This is the name that he gives us that you and I haven't been living up to. You haven't been living up to being the upright one. The upright one is not just the one who walks straight, it's the one who has taken the yoke off his neck so he can walk straight. Listen to what he says. When Yah told us, when he brought us out of Mizraim, he said, I brought you out and I broke the yoke off your neck so you can stand up straight, so you can walk straight. You can walk with your head up high. You can walk with your head looking towards me. When you're with the nations, they put a yoke on your head to keep your head down so you won't look up to the heavens and know where your strength comes from. Yeshurun is the upright one, but look at what Yeshurun did. Yeshurun grew fat and he kicked. He said, you grew fat and you thick and gross. Well, what does this mean? What is he telling us? Well, when Yah was raising the children of Israel, the Yaakov, the house of Yaakov, Yeshurun, he got so fat and so thick from everything Yah said that he wasn't able to even feel the prodding anymore. When you would prod your animal, you would poke him to push him in a direction. And they would feel it when you would poke them in the side, say, no, don't go that way, go over here. Well, we became so fat, and we became so thick, and we became so gross that we're incapable of even feeling the discipline any longer. You can't even feel it. He said he abandoned his Elohim, his maker, and he scorned the rock, his salvation. This is what Yeshurun did. What does Yah say in the book of Isaiah about Yeshurun? Listen to what he says about Yeshurun. Yeshurun, he says this, now listen, Yaakov, my servant, I, Yisrael, whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh, who made you, formed you in the womb, and will help you. Don't be afraid, Yaakov, my servant, Yeshurun, whom I have chosen. Yah has chosen us. Yeshurun is Yaakov. There's your evidence right there. When he says that I have made you and I formed you, like he told us, he said he's your father. I formed you when you were in the womb. You understand? I know who you are, and I will help you. So don't be afraid, for I have chosen you. Okoti Azanya, you said you get disturbed by just thinking about this conflict that's going inside of you. Like, what is his plan? Yah has a plan for us, and his plan is, I'm going to save you. I'm going to help you. Right now, it might appear that you and I are not being helped, but that's for a reason, because Yah has to allow other people to see it. He has to allow his people to go through this in order to bring us to a place where he's going to deliver us and save us. You understand? But there has not been any foreign Elohim. No one left us. No one led us out of that place except for Yah. But you see right here, there is another foreign God. The foreign God, listen to what this man, this tent maker, this blind tent maker, this man who told people never to get married, never to have a family, never to do anything and put down circumcision. Look at what this man says in the so-called New Testament to the church of Corinth, of these Europeans. For brothers, I don't want you to miss the significance of what happened to our fathers. All of them were guided by the pillar of cloud, and they all passed through the sea. And in connection with the cloud and with the sea, they were all immersed as some type of baptism themselves into Moshe. They were baptized into Moshe. And also they ate all the same food from the Spirit. And they all drank the same drink from the Spirit. And they all drank from the Spirit sent rock, which they followed them. And that rock was the Messiah. That's what they're telling our people. This is what your relatives are listening to. That this rock that was in the wilderness was the Messiah. They're making a comparison and saying that the Messiah is Yahweh. When Yahweh says that I'm your only rock and there is no other rock, there is no other refuge. And now you have this clown telling our people that the Messiah is the rock. You see? So if you don't know this song, you would go and believe that this in particular Messiah is the rock who followed. How was our people to ever know this? How? How we ever know that Yah is our rock if you and I never read the Torah? How would we ever know that he's the one who delivered us and led us out of the Mizraim? The whole time when you and I were Christians, we thought that we were Gentiles. You see? So he's talking to the church of Corinth. And he's telling them that your rock is the Messiah. And even to this day, our people still believe that the Messiah is their rock. Why? Because they failed to read the Torah. You understand? Lo yada. Lo means what? What does lo mean?
No, never.
No, never. Yada. Yada means to know. That means that you will never know. Lo yada. What don't they know? Let him tell us what it is. Yahweh says this in this song. He said they aroused him to jealousy. Moshe is telling the heavens and the earth what his people has done to Yahweh. They roused him to jealousy with alien gods, and they provoked him with abominations. They sacrificed to demons, non-gods, gods that they had never known, new gods that have come up lately, which your fathers, your ancestors had not feared. You ignored the rock who fathered you. You ignored the rock that fathered you. Well, I thought Paul said that the rock was the Messiah. You forgot Elohim who gave you birth. You understand? So either Christ is your father or Elohim is your father. He says your ancestors didn't know these gods. He ain't talking about when they were just in the wilderness sacrificing. They were sacrificing to demons and non-gods when they went into the land, because he just said that, hey, I fed them. I've been feeding them. I brought them to a place. I provided for them. Yah is pointing us to understanding that there is no other God. That's what this is about. The testimony is here as he's telling us what we did to him. But there's always this idea of measure for measure. And let me explain what measure for measure means. Measure for measure means this. Whatever you and I do to him, he's going to do to you. If you and I aroused him to jealousy with non-alien gods, he's going to make you jealous. And he tells us that's what it is. It said Yahweh saw, and he was filled with scorn at his sons and daughters' provocation. You provoked him. And he said, I will hide my face from them and see what will become of them. This word means to become of them, means in the Akorith Hamayim. He says that they're a perverse generation. They're untrustworthy children. I can't trust them. They arouse my jealousy with the non-God, and they provoke me with their vanities. I will arouse their jealousy with the non-people and provoke them with a vile nation. Well, who is this non-people? Who is these people that are vile? I've read to you before. I've shared with you on many occasions that you have what they would call the Jews. And the Jews have within their writings things about having sex with children, pedophilia, having sex with animals, that it's okay. Disrespecting your parents is okay. Okay. Sucking a child's penis after they're circumcised to suck the blood out of their penis is okay with them. This is what they're talking about. They're a vile nation. They're sacrificing their children. Do you understand? And Yah says, I'm going to make you jealous about these people. I'm going to put a people who say that they're you. And like you said that I was another God, I'm going to say that these people are you. I'm going to let you know what it feels like to be ignored and to actually look at something that's disgusting. You turn me into a disgusting God. You turn me into an image of a penis, a phallic symbol. You turn me into a picture of a goat with breast. You turn me into an animal or some other creature. Is that what you did? You make me into a vile Elohim, right? Well, I tell you what, I'm going to do the same to you. That's measure for measure. Whatever you've done, I'm going to balance out. I'm going to measure out your judgment according to what you've done. You understand? So what it is that I'm going to make you jealous now. So every time you turn on the TV and you hear a movie and somebody say they're a Yehudim, or they say they're a Jew, and they're saying how much they suffered in that Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, their people, it's going to make you angry. It's going to piss you off really bad. You understand? It's going to burn you to the core, your very core. When they say that Sarah was their mother and Rivka is their mother, and Raquel is their mother, and that their brothers are, Reuven and Shimon and Levi and Simon and Gad and Reuven and Naphtali and Benjamin and Yosef and every other people and every other tribe that they say they belong to them, but they don't have them in their land and they don't care about them. I'm going to make you angry. When they celebrate my Moedim and they gather together and they're dancing, they're singing the songs that you're supposed to be singing, I'm going to make you jealous. When you go to their synagogues and you ask them to teach you about your language and your heritage, they say, no, we can't. It's ours. That happened to me. You understand? When they have the writings that I gave you, and they turn around and they use my language that I gave to you, and they turn around and they make their own language out of it, and turn around and call my Shabbat the Shabbos, I'm going to make you angry. I'm going to make you angry. When you find out that these people who never suffered in the Holocaust are getting paid every single month because they say they're Jewish, and they're getting a check from the government, from the very people that oppress you, I'm going to make you angry, and I'm going to make you jealous. When they say that they have your land, yes, and they're the number one nation, and they're over everything. They're over media, they're over banks, they're over everything. I'm going to make you jealous. I'm going to make you jealous when you find out that they don't even have to go to work. They just live off the check that they get from the government and allows them to study the Torah. I'm going to make you jealous. You understand me? You went ahead and you turned your back on me. I'm going to hide my face from you. I'm filled with this scorn at you. I'm displeased with your behavior because of how you reacted and you responded to me, because you turned around and said that I'm somebody else. But I want you to consider this today. I need you to consider that often before I considered to putting it into them. Yes, I'm telling the heavens and the earth. I considered putting it into them and erasing their memory from the human race. But I feared that the insolence of their enemy, and I feared that their foes would mistakenly think we ourselves have accomplished this. Yahweh had nothing to do with it or with them or their demise. We did it. He had nothing to do with it. They are a nation without common sense. When you read this week in your Torah portion, you were probably thinking that Yahweh was referring to the children of Israel when he says they are a nation without common sense. In context, he's not talking about Israel now. He has shifted the conversation. He has shifted about, I wanted to put an end to them, but now I'm going to introduce you to the reason why I haven't. I haven't done it because their enemies would think that they did it and I didn't have nothing to do with it. The nations that are thinking this, they are a nation without common sense. These nations don't have any common sense, and they're lacking in discernment, meaning their sense is perished. They don't even have no common sense. When it says they're without, it means that it's perished. The word is avad, meaning that it doesn't exist. Okay, that they don't understand. If they were wise, if they were prudent, if they were sensible, if they asked questions, they could figure it out and they would understand their destiny. Now I'm going to tell you what their destiny is in this song. I'm going to let you know what's going to happen to the individuals that have crossed me. You understand? And have crossed my people. Now it's switched. Okay. He says this word Ya'adin. We studied it before in our Torah portion. It's called Mishpatim. This word Ya'adin, din has to do with being a judge. And it has to do with to be a ruler and one who rules. And rules what? He rules over a case, or he rules over a quarrel, or he rules over a situation, okay, to bring about peace. The word Dan, D-A-N, one of the tribes, the letter Dalet is a door, okay? The noon, we're taking this out because that's just a vowel point, a vowel. The noon is a seed, and a seed means to continue. Continue what? A seed brings forth life. So again, this in particular word, Dan, means the door of life. So now Yah is going to tell us what he's going to do. He's going to open up the door of life for us by him saying that he's going to judge. He's not bringing judgment upon us in this manner that he's talking about here. Remember, I told you there are three different types of judgments. Okay. So there's a judgment called Don, there's a judgment called Palal, and there's a judgment called Mishpat, okay, or Shaphat. So Don is one, Palal is the other, and the last one is Shaphat. And you can go back and look at the Torah portion video that we did on Mishpatim. And I believe the number of it is called The Benefit of Judgment. That's the name of the video. Okay, go look at it. In the first 20, 30 minutes, it talks about Don, Palal, and Shaphat. Okay, so this in particular judgment right here is the one that Yah says that he's about to do in this song, that he's making known to the heavens and the earth about what he's going to do. And what he's going to do now is he's going to show us this judgment, because this is the reason why he has this song written, is only a testimony to tell him what I'm going to do. Okay. Yes, Yahweh will judge his people. That judge right there is not mishpat. It's not to judge for wrongdoing. It's a judge to be like, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to make something, a situation right. I'm going to alleviate the quorum. I'm going to alleviate the argument. I'm going to settle the case. That's what I'm about to do. He says he's taking pity on his servants. That's what I'm going to do. When I come to this point to judge this situation, I'm going to take pity on my servants. Okay. I was talking to my son the other day, and I asked him, I said, you know, being a servant is different than just being somebody that shows up. A lot of us would like to believe that we're Yah's servants. We want to believe that because we are in the class, or because we're on live on video, or because we read the Torah, or because we wear our tzitzis or our beards, or we might eat the specified diet in some way or another. But I want you to understand something. To be a servant of Yahweh not only means to be there, but you got to be there. You got to be present. You could get prepared to go to your job. And a lot of you know what I'm saying. You could be prepared to go be on a professional basketball team or a football team. Doesn't matter what the organization is. Number one, there's a uniform. And number two, when you get there, and there's an attire, when you get there, you got to be ready to perform service. You have to be ready to perform. A lot of us show up, but we're not performing service. We're not. We're just showing up. And we think because we're showing up that we're in service to Yah. That's not true. Yah says, I'm going to make a distinguishment between those who have served me and those who don't. Service to Yah means not only being there, but performing and saying, here I am. Hineni. I'm ready. I'm at your service. When you get there, you have to have the mindset. When you come to the Torah and you read the Torah, you got to be willing to put it into practice and to establish yourself as being a servant of the Most High. Don't just show up. When I had employees, they would show up, but they wouldn't be in service. They weren't faithful to what I said. All because you show up and you punch the clock doesn't mean that you're in service. You understand? So Yah's letting us know that the ones that I'm going to take pity on are the ones who are actually in service to me. You understand? He differentiates here. He says, he's not just taking pity on his people. He said, I'm going to judge my people, but I'm taking pity on his servants. And so when he sees that their strength is gone, that there's no one left, slave or free, there's a mistranslation. I left it here on purpose. When he says there's no one left, slave or free, I thought to myself, what does this mean? So I looked at the Hebrew words on it. And what this is, they got these presented here as nouns. And they're not. When you think about a slave, you think about a noun. A slave, it's a person, place, or thing. Free, oh, that's a person, place, or thing. Something happened. They're free, a free person. Okay. He's saying that their strength is gone. The strength has to do with their hand, which is their yod. Okay. So what is he talking, which is their power? I want to make sure that their power is gone. That's what I'm going to bring this. But before I judge them, I'm going to do this after their power is gone. But not only is their power gone, he said that no one is left. This one, no one left is remaining. There's nothing, no individual remaining. Okay. Listen, they said left, a slave or a free. That's not the proper translation. The proper translation is that these are verbs. And the verb here that's being used is saying stopping. And this one right here, free, means to loosen, loosening or abandoning. I need you to loosening or abandon. And so what he's talking about here is he's talking about the strength that one has to hold on to another God. That's what he's talking about. He's saying, because he's more specifically dealing with the pity on his servants. I'm letting you know that the ones who serve me are the ones who abandon and have loosened their grip and their hands and the power on the ones that they believed that could save them. And I want to prove that to you through the context here of this in particular text. When he talks about when their strength is gone, he has to do, like I said, with their hand, their yad. And he says, no one is remaining. And it says slave or free. That's not true. These are verbs and they're called a participle. They're ing. So it's a continuing. Okay. And so he's saying continuing to let go, a continuing of abandonment, a continuing of stopping your hand, okay, from holding on to another God. Those are the ones who are his servants, because you can't serve Yah and serve another God. You understand? So he says, then he will ask, right? After you let the hand go and holding on to these gods, he says, where are their gods? That's the question. Where are their gods? Because they're no longer in your hands. The rock in whom they trusted, the rock of 1 Corinthians. That's who he's making reference to here. Because this has to do with the Akhrei Thamayim. He's talking about the rock that was mentioned in 1 Corinthians, what was that? Chapter number 10. Remember he said the Messiah is your rock? He asked him, where is he? Where's that rock in whom they trusted? Where's Jeus? Where's he? You've been holding on to him. That's what your hand, your strength has been in him. Where's he at? Huh? But guess what you and I did? You and I did this. We azav. Azav means to abandon. You atzur. Atzur means to stop and restrain. You stopped your hand from holding on to this guy. And that's the reason why. You understand? Who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Where is he at? Where's the guy that you put the cracker on the altar in the grape juice? Where is he at? Let him get up and help you. Let him protect you. Where is he at? You should share this song with people that come to you and ask you, well, why are you no longer a Christian? Because the first thing that should come out of your mind is, where is the rock in whom you've trusted? Where's the one? Let him get up and help you. You said that he sits on the right hand of the Father. Where was he? Where was he through slavery? Where is he right now? Where's the God that you put your trust in? Where is he when COVID hit? Where is he one when all of our people are out of their jobs? And I ain't just talking about our people. I'm talking about the God of the nations around you. Where's their God? The one that convinced us that he loved us. Where's he at? Yah says, let him get up and let him protect you. You see, he's letting us know. Okay. Why? Because he said, there's no Natsal. There's no deliverer. This word here, right here, means to be a deliverer. This right here means to be a person who's bent on to do something for you. I want this guy that you've been trying to hold on to, the one that you've trusted, this rock that you've trusted in, because I said I'm your rock. You said someone else. Where's his rescue at? Where's the rescue? You said he died for you and he said he forgave all your sins. Where's the rescue package? Why are you still scattered all over the world? Huh? See now that yes, I am he. Ha! I'm he. And there is no God beside me. I need you to see that. Okay? He mentions this word, Anoki, Anoki. He says it twice in the Hebrew scriptures. He mentions I twice. That means it's emphatic. I'm letting you know that I am he. I am the rock. That was your shelter that you ran to take refuge in. I told the heavens and the earth that I'm the one who fed you and led you in the wilderness. I'm the one who surrounded you. I'm the one who thought of you as an apple of my eye. I'm the one who took you like an eagle and put my wings around you, protect you. I'm the one that you've made fly high on the heights of the heavens. I'm the one. I'm the one. And I want you to know that there is no rescue because there's nobody except for me. I put to death and I make alive. I wound and I heal. No one delivers, not Saul, anyone from my hand. In context, I'm coming to judge. I'm coming to plead the case on my people's behalf. Now that their hands have released and stopped holding on to this other rock. And my conversation about where is he is not for them because they let go. It's for the people who told them that this was their rock. I'm about to show you, okay, that your rock that you called and you claim on that you got my people believing, I'm about to show you what I'm going to do. I'm the one who puts to death, and I'm about to show you that. This right here is telling you about judgment. I'm about to put a whole bunch of people to death. I'm about to prove to you that I am he. I'm about to show you that there is no other God beside me when I put these people to death. I'm also going to show you that I'm the one who lives. And I'm going to show you that I'm going to wound a lot of people, but I'm also the one who heals. I may have wounded my people, but I'm the one who's going to heal them, and no one can deliver anybody from my hand. So if I sent you into exile, you're going to exile. If I sentence you to death, you're going to death. If I sentence you to be opened up and fall in the midst of the earth, that's where you're going. If I sentence you to be burned up alive, that's what's going to happen to you. If I sentence you to be blotted out of my book, no one can deliver you and not Saul you out of my hand. Yes, Azania.
Yes, you're bringing this up, and I've been doing like some research because I've been really concerned about my family members that still believe in the idol of the New Testament after years of our good and loving counsel. And so I read and reading our Torah portions this week, like you, they were really, really alarming for me. And I read some places in Isaiah 14, specifically verses 25 and I believe verses 12, where the Most High talks about taking these yokes off our necks and releasing us out of the prison houses. And I kind of interpreted the metaphors to maybe be, the house of Circe and these churches and idolatry. And because of the way Isaiah 14 read, and they really gave me some hope for our people that literally refuse to come away from this. Do you think there's any hope, or like you say, there's just they're just going to fall into judgment and that's it?
From what the Creator says, Koti, and thank you for that question and that contribution. According to what he said, what you and I are about to get into, okay, Yah is telling us straight up, okay, I'm gonna let him say it. I'm gonna let him answer it with his words. He mentions Kai. Okay, and Kai means life. That's what Kai means. Okay, and it's represented by, and we're going to get into answer that question about whether or not our people are going to be able to live. This word Kai is a ket and a yod. Okay, and it means life. Okay, that's what it means. Life. Kai is life. Okay, so he's about to tell us something about himself. And he's about to share with us. Remember, he just told us that no one can deliver you out of my hand. There is no rescue, all right, out of my hand. All right, I'm the one who kills. I'm the one who makes alive. I'm the one who wounds. I got power over everything. And I just told you that I'm he. So I'm letting you know that there's no other Elohim. I'm the only God. And that's what this whole song is about, is that my people have abandoned me. Okay, so he says, I will lift up my hand. I'm going to lift up my hand to the Shamayim and swear. When I read this, I asked myself, well, why is the Creator lifting up his hand? The Creator is lifting up his hand, okay, Listen, he's lifting his hand up and he's swearing because that's what he does. It's like a king that says he makes a proclamation and he swears something. They lift their hand up and he says, as surely as I'm alive, I am alive forever. This right here is a mistranslation about as surely as I am alive forever. It doesn't say that. What he says is this. I put the word that I had earlier up there about Kai, right? I put that word Kai up there. Kai has to do with the idea of being alive, okay? But they say alive, but that's just a wrong way to look at it. What he's saying is not that I'm alive forever, alive, like I'm a human being. What he's saying is that I'm life. I'm life forever. That's what I am. I'm not just alive, I am life. He didn't say I'm alive. He said, I am life. I'm life forever. I'm lifting up my hand because I'm life. Everything that you see and everything that's alive is because I exist. I'm life. The only way that there's life in trees and vegetables and fruits and animals and human beings, in the waters and the seas and the fish and the beasts and the behemoths and the kayas and all these different things and the birds, is because I'm life. Bacteria is alive because I'm life. I've given everything its life source. So when I lift up my hands, I'm swearing by my existence. Okay. If I sharpen my flashing sword, he's still talking to the heavens and the earth, and set my hand to judgment, that's mishpat, I will render vengeance to my foes, and and repay those who hate me. Now, Azania, this is going to answer your question. So I will render vengeance to my foes, which are my enemies, and I'm going to repay those who hate me. Okay. This is where this judgment's coming for now. Okay. So I told you the judgment about what I'm going to do with my servants. Okay. I'm going to take pity on them. So if you're not my servant, you're not getting any pity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm going to repay, meaning shalom. Same words for shalom. One is S-H-A-L-O-M. One is S-H-A-L-E-M. Shalom and shalom share the same root, okay, which has to do with, I'm sorry, Gil, for using the green. I thought about you just now. Shalom. Shalom. They share the same root, S-H, S-H, L-L, mem, mem, or lamed, lamed, mem, mem. These right here are just vowel points. These are just vowel points. They're just vowels. So what do we have? Well, in the Hebrew language, they mean exactly the same thing. So you got this and this. Okay, and this is shalom and this is shalom. And both of them means to bring peace. And both of them brings to be made whole. You can't have peace until someone is made whole. So you and I have been robbed and pillaged. We haven't been made whole. So should you say Shabbat Shalom? Absolutely. Because today you are being made whole because you're spending time with the Creator. So God does give you some shalom on today if you follow what he says. So shalom, he says, I'm going to repay. And the reason why he's repaying is because Yah has to bring about wholeness. You understand? But the wholeness is not only wholeness for us, but it's wholeness for him. Yah has to be made whole. When someone violates him, he says, I'm going to repay. I'm going to make sure that I'm made whole by those who hate me. Because I can't let it go. I'm not going to let it go. That's why I got to repay him. I will make my arrows drunk with blood. So I'm shooting arrows, okay? My sword will devour flesh and the blood of the slain and the captives. Flesh from the wild hair heads of the enemy. So he's letting you know what the actual texture of the hair of the enemies. The hair of the enemies are like the hairs of a goat, because that's where you get the wild hair goats. You don't get the wild haired sheep, you get the wild hair goats. They got hair like very stringy. Okay. So they're the enemy. I'm letting you know who the enemy is. And I'm also going to let you know that the blood, I'm going to make my arrows drunk with blood. Okay. So his arrows, according to the Hebrew, has to do with lightning. Okay. lightning, okay? That's lightning bolts. Those are his arrows. The same word that's used for lightning bolt is the same word that's used right here for an arrow. Okay? And he says it's going to be filled with blood. I'm going to make my arrows drunk with blood, meaning there won't be any ceasing of blood. There's going to be nothing but blood. So he's trying to let you and I know that, yeah, I'm going to plead your case, but also too, in the pleading of your case, I got to bring judgment, and I got to bring judgment and vengeance upon all my enemies, because I have enemies just like you do. So it's just to my foes, not just to your enemies, but my enemies. Okay? And those who hate me, because those are the ones who are my enemy, right? And my arrows, my lightning bolts are going to be filled with blood. I'm going to make them drunk. That means you're not going to get a couple of glasses. I'm going to fill it where they're just covered in blood. Okay? So there's a lot of bloodshed, and it's going to be blood of the slain and blood of the captives. A lot of people are about to die. Okay? He's not just talking about captives of his people. He's talking about anybody. There's a lot of people that are captives. There are a lot of people that are being mistreated on the earth right now. And you and I would think, well, Yah don't care about them. That's not true. Yah does care about those people. But the only reason why they're being mistreated is because of us, because we didn't do our job. Okay? Let me share something with you. Yahweh he didn't set his heart on you or choose you, anybody online or anybody on class today, because you number more than any other people. On the contrary, you were the fewest of all peoples. Rather, it's because Yahweh loved you, and because he wanted to keep the oath which he had sworn to your ancestors. The Yahweh brought you out with a strong hand and redeemed you from a life of slavery under the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Mizraim. So you can see there again, he's letting you know where this hand has been. And from this, you can know, this is why Yah raised his hand. You understand? You can know from this. From what? From Yah delivering you from under the hand of Pharaoh. You shall know from this that Yahweh, your Elohim, is indeed Elohim. Just based on Yah taking you out of Mizraim should tell you that Yah is Elohim and there is no one else. Based on this, from what? From this, from Yah's hand of taking you out from Mizraim should let you know that there is nobody else. There is no one else, that he indeed is Elohim, because he's the one who did it with his hand, not strong hands of him as someone else. No one else redeemed you but him, okay? He's a faithful Elohim. Why? Because he swore an oath to your ancestors. He loved you, and he wanted to keep the oath, which he's sworn to your ancestors. That's why he's faithful. Who keeps his covenant and extends grace to those who love him. Zanya, here's your answer. Yahweh is faithful, and he keeps his covenant, and he extends grace to those who love him and observe his commandments to 1,000 generations. So grace is only extended to those who love him and who keep and observe and do his mitzvot. Now, final end of this is, but he repays those who hate him to their face, and he destroys them. He will not be slow to deal with someone, which is a family member, who hates him. Why do they hate him? Because they don't obey the mitzvot. They don't do the mitzvot. They don't follow what he says. They're not in service to him. And those are the ones who hate him. He will repay him to his face. So no, our family members are going to be killed. But the best part about their death is that it won't happen in front of the nations. Yah's punishment for us is going to be in the wilderness, where only the children of Israel and those joined to them will see it, because that was the contention. This is what Moshe, remember, he told us that it was in my mind. I thought often about, I considered putting an end to them, but the nations would see it. And like Moshe said, if you do this, the nations are going to say, you brought them out here because you hated them. You wanted to kill them, and you weren't able to bring them into this land. So the only reason why Yah's never destroyed us, according to Ezekiel chapter number 20, read it for yourself to find out, the nations were watching. Now that I destroyed the nations, I ain't worried about them, because I've destroyed them. There's nobody to watch anymore. There's nobody to bring an accusation against me when I kill my people where I want to kill them. And I'm going to put them to death because they hated me and because they don't do my commandments. You understand? So no, there won't be no reprieve. There won't be any pity. There won't be anything for anybody that doesn't keep his commandments. There's no hope for them except for them turning to him while they still have a chance. The only hope that they have is that they would consider and think about what he's saying. The only hope that they have is read the Torah and acknowledge him as the only living Elohim. The only hope that they have is to say that he indeed is Elohim because he's the only one who brought us out of Mizraim, and he is the one who led us alone. Read the song, which is a testimony to our people in the future about what Yahweh said. Matter of fact, he tells the nations to sing. I need you to sing. I need you to sing out, you nations. About who? About his people. For he will avenge the blood of his servants. He will render vengeance to his adversaries and make atonement for the land of his people. Yes, Gil in Akoti Sharon.
Akoti Sharon can go first.
Can't hear you, Aki. Gil, you had your hand raised?
Yes, I did. I was, I'm very aware of, our family members that, are not turning to him and that's still holding on to the idol. What about those people that are aware of what we're being taught, us right now here, but they still have this Messiah?
They're gone. They're gone. He said, listen, if you read and you find I can show you at least 15 different places, and I'm not kidding, where he says that if you're holding on to your God, right, which remember, he said, I haven't paid you back. Remember, he said, there's coming a day where I'm going to repay them. And that's in Isaiah 65. He said, I'm going to repay you and your ancestors for their crimes, that your crimes and their crimes all together. I never paid everybody back. Okay, so the judgment that was supposed to have been in the desert to kill everybody that did the golden calf, he says, I'd never repay them. Moshe begged him, don't, atone, let them go. He said, forgive them. If you don't, blot me out. He said, nah, anybody that sins against me, that's the one I'm going to blot out. More specifically, the golden calf or the idol is the sin. That's the sin, because Moshe said, I took the sin that they made and I burned it, and I burned it all the way down, and I made them drink of it. The idols, you guys, is what all this song is about. The idols are throughout the whole entire Torah that's telling us to get rid of your idols, your statues, and all these things. In the book of Ezekiel, he tells them, are you going to judge them, son of man? If you are, tell them this, that I told you to get rid of your idols. And listen, I was going to destroy you while you were in Egypt because of your idols. So the answer to that question, Gil, is if you have an idol and I told you to get rid of it and you didn't, I'm killing you.
Yeah. The reason why
I'm killing you. You're dead.
The reason why I asked is because these people are reading the Torah. And it's amazing. You'll be listening to them and you'll think that, yeah, you want us. And then all of a sudden they'll slip, Jeebus into the conversation.
People, I'm like you. I have friends and associates that are teaching the New Testament, and they read the Torah and they can read Deuteronomy 30 and still continue to bring about this Messiah. You and I don't want to accept the fact that people hate him. And I don't want to really believe that these people literally hate him. They don't want him to be their Elohim. That's what he's letting us know. This is the reason why he sent us here in exile, to find out. Remember, he said, I'm sending you to a place where you're going to worship these gods. When you get there, you're going to worship gods of wood and stone. He knows that you're going to worship God of wood and stone. He knows that. He sends us to a place with wood and stone. So why would he send us to a place in wood and stone? Just like he just told us in this song, where's your God? Where's the rock, the one who's supposed to save you? The idea of everything is to turn us away from these gods and say that he's the only one. That's the only reason. He told us in Deuteronomy 4, I've done this so you would know that there is no one else. He says it all the time. There is no one else. There is no other God. There is no other Savior. There is no one. And you are holding on to a God. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to destroy you. And you said, well, they didn't know. They kept the Torah. No. There's a lot of people that are keeping the Torah. I told you about the Jews. And let me prove to you that they're going to be destroyed. Let me just prove it. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter number 4, verses number 1 and 2. I believe, or 2 and 3. It says, in order to obey the mitzvot, the commandments, you and I shall never add or subtract from it. In order to obey it, you cannot add or subtract. Do you know those people had created a whole nother series and a whole nother book called the Mishnah and the Talmud and all these things? And they've added holidays, they've added this, they've added this, they've added that, they've added all kind of moedims, they've added it all. Are they obeying the commandments? Are they really keeping the Torah? No. That's how straight this is. Yah says, in order for you to do what I say, you don't add to what I said. Is the New Testament adding to what Yahweh says? Yes, it is. Yah has never spoken those words. Are we adding to what he says? You see, if you and I add or subtract from anything he said to justify the existence and to placate and make room for his enemy. How about this? Let's go to Deuteronomy 13. He says, if your wife or your best friend or your son or your daughter come to you and they try to get you to worship another God, which is a picture of an image or a statue or anything, what are you to do with that person? Remember, no witness is required. You are to be the first to put your hand on them and kill them. So there you go. That's your answer. He says, I don't care if it's a God that's in a foreign land. It could be a far end of the earth. You see? So now Yah's making a distinction and a separation. What did Yah tell the children of Levi to do when Moshe called him and said, who's on Yah's side? The tribe of Levi got on Yah's side. He said, what did Yah command them to do? Moshe told them to strap your knives and your swords on your side and go from one end of the gate to the other gate and kill your own family members, your sons, your kinsmen, your relatives, your friends. Why? Because they worship another God. We are commanded not to make an image or statue of anything. If you worship another God, you're done. I'm killing you. And the reason why is because I told you from the beginning, when I told you that the Torah belonged not only to you or those who are standing here, like a week ago, Natsavim, not only those who are standing here today, but those who are not even standing here today. You look at the 10 words. I told you, the first word is that I'm your Elohim, and there is no one. I'm the one who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. Why would I tell you that? Then I followed up to not to make an image of any other God. Then I told you in verse number 3, don't worship and bow down to another God. Then I told you my Mishpatim in chapter number 23 and 24, if you do, I'm going to kill you. Our relatives and our friends and our family have a choice to make. We're in this situation because somebody did not teach us what Yahweh said. Gil, I begged my father. I begged him to follow the Torah. I begged him to turn from his ways. And the man told me no. You think you and I are the first people to ask people to turn away from their ways? Why would he mention in the book of Malachi? I heard those who had fear towards me. And I wrote down their names in the book of life. And I said, I'll spare them. Then I'll show you the difference between those who served me and those who didn't. I'll spare him like a man who spares his own son and a servant who serves him. Then you'll know the difference between the wicked and the righteous. Those who serve Yah and those who don't. It's not easy, as Akoti Azanya says, it's not easy. It's troubling to hear these words. To know that your family is going to be the blood that's going to be shed right in front of your eyes. How do you think Korach's family felt? Or Abihu and Dadan and Abiram, how do you think their families felt? And their friends and the people that had to separate themselves from their tent when Yah opened up the earth and they fell in and then it closed over them. How do you think family members felt when Yah's fire came down and burned up everybody that had a censer? How do you think Aharon felt when his own sons were killed before his very eyes? And their cousins that had to come and take their bodies out of there and drag them past all Yisrael. How do you think Moshe and Aharon felt when their sister got spat in her face and got Zazarah and put out of the camp for 7 days? How do you think Moshe felt knowing that his brother was about to be destroyed and killed until Moshe asked Yah to spare him? says Moshe got sick to his stomach when he knew that Yah's anger was fired up. Yah has never dispensed that anger on nobody yet. It's still there. In this Torah portion, the word anger, the word vexation, the word heat and kindling and fire is mentioned several times. Yah is brewing with anger. He says he's so mad that his fire is going to go all the way down from the heavens, all the way down to the depths of the earth and destroy everything. You and I don't have a clue how mad Yah is. You and I are taking this lightly. Open up your ears, broaden your understanding, and tell these fools, like he said, these foolish, stupid people. You and I are being too, we're being too nice. You cannot placate Yah. You cannot turn him away from this anger. You can't. You and I cannot stand in the way of nobody else and intercede. If Moshe wasn't able to stand in Yah's presence and ask to spare nobody's life from being blotted out, you and I can't do it either. That's why the Christian concept makes sense for them, because they're looking for a scapegoat. They're looking for somebody to stand in the gap so they can get away with murder. Call wickedness wickedness. Call it what it is. Call Yahweh's enemies his enemies and his adversaries. If we're going to atone and we're going to sit and act like we want to stand in the place of our people and our relatives, then you and I should be standing in the gap for everybody else, including our enemies, like the New Testament said. Who is on Yah's side? I'll say it and I'll keep saying it over and over again. I warned my own children, Gil, and I told them, you better turn. You don't get no pass because I'm your father. Did Phineas and Hophni, did they get a pass? When their father Eli refused to correct his children, did they get a pass? Yah says, I'm killing them today. And none of their ancestors and none of their descendants are going to sit and serve me ever again. You and I need to understand who our Elohim is. What he's telling us is worthy of attention. When he had finished speaking all these words to Israel, he said to them, take heart to all the words of my testimony against you today, so that you can use them in charging your children, commanding them to be careful. I need you to be careful to obey all the words of this Torah. Why? Because this is not a trivial matter for you. On the contrary, it is your life. And through it, what? The Torah. You will live long in the land, Yahweh. Your Elohim is giving you the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. And the land that Yahweh is going to give to you. It's not a light thing. It's not unworthy of your attention. Yah has provided the escape through the Torah, Gil. Azania, everyone else is listening. Yah has given the Torah as an escape from the judgment. But he's not going to show partiality. This is not a game, people. Moshe did not go in. It's the last part of the Torah portion. I don't have a slide for it. He said, go and look at the land, but you're not going into the land because you failed to set me apart in the eyes of the people. So that is your warning, people. If you and I fail to set Yahweh apart from everything else and everyone else and everything else, you and I won't be going to the land. And should that scare you? Yeah, you're right. It should. Because Yah's purpose is to put the fear of Elohim inside of you and put the fear of Yahweh in your children. But you know what you and I do? Huh? You and I don't want to lose any relationships, right? We already lost enough. We don't want to lose any more relationships. I don't want to lose a relationship with my son and my daughter and their kids and my grandkids. I don't want to lose them because I won't have nobody except for Yah. So I don't want to say anything. I don't want to make anybody upset. I don't want to lose any friends. I've already lost enough. You know, I need somebody to come over for the barbecue. I need somebody to talk to on the phone. And Yah's telling you, listen what I'm saying. There's no way that you and I can save anybody from Yahweh's hands. Nobody is going to be able to escape Yahweh's judgment. Nobody. Nobody. Now, if you and I don't like this, we don't have to stay. We can go right over to the New Testament on the other side of the book, and there you will find that your family members are going to be saved. And so are you. And matter of fact, you don't have to follow any of the commandments. Just believe, and you're going to be saved. Yah tells us in the book of Ezekiel, chapter number 14, he says this. He says, you know what? The children of Israel, the house of Israel, has taken their idols into their hearts. And the way that I'm going to respond to them and answer them is from the things that's in their hearts. I'm going to deal with your mind. I'm going to deal with the very God that you want to hold on to. I'm going to use that God to show you that they don't exist. I want you to hold on to Christ. Why? Because I want you to see. I want you to ask you the question, where is he? What has he done for you? What has he done? Has he made your life any better? He hasn't. Has he caused you to keep the commandments? Did he ever instruct you to keep my words? Has he ever shared with you the importance of the Moedim? Or did he go and tell you that the Shabbat is something different? Did he ever tell you and express to you my words and my thoughts on the diet and you being a set apart people? Did your God that you love so much, did he ever tell you about the land that I swore to your ancestors? Did he ever mention the promise I made to them? Did he ever tell you that? No, he never did he? So you and I have to understand this. My desire today was to let you go early. But apparently, Yah has decided for us to get the full blow of what he's saying. I need you to broaden your understanding. I need you to open your ears because I've told the heavens and the earth about what I'm going to do. And I've told you today too. I want you to know what I'm going to do before I do it. I'm going to judge the earth and I'm going to judge everybody on it. And that includes you. I'm going to plead your cause. I'm going to avenge the blood of my servants. I'm going to take pity on those and compassion on those who are my servants. Okay. But everybody else I'm putting to death because that's what I have to do. I can't let Israel hold on to idols and everybody else hold on to them and let Israel go and let everybody else die. Do you think that's not measure for measure? If you hold on to the gods that your oppressors hold on to and you think that they're going to save you, well, if it's not going to save your oppressor, then why do you think it's going to save you? I'm killing you and them because you are my enemy. Because I am the king of the heavens and the earth and the universe. I made everything. And you're going to ignore my power? You're going to say that there's somebody else when I told you on several occasions through the prophets and through the Torah that there is no one else? I didn't wait to tell the prophets this. I've been telling you this the whole time. I used the prophets to remind you that there is no one else. Now, either you can accept what I said or you can decline. I've come to you in shalom. And if you don't want the shalom, you're going to get the shalom. You're going to get the repayment as I promised you. I kept my oath about everything else. You don't think I'm going to keep my oath about killing everybody? I'm doing it. We come to the end of our scroll in the book of Davarim. And after this song, Yah had told Moshe, the final words before you die and before you go to be joined with your ancestors is I want you to bless my people before they leave to go into this land. And that will be your Torah portion next week, starting on Yom Rishon, tomorrow. Tomorrow is a Mikra, a Kadosh Mikra. I will be here at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, for no more than 30 minutes, to have us to regather and to convene in order for us to close out our festival of Sukkot, according to the rule of the Torah. I know that you don't have any offerings to bring, Yahweh, but I hoped during this week and the last day of this festival today that you would celebrate with all your heart and all your being and all your mind, your soul, your body, your stomach, your eyes, your ears, your mouth, your tongue, your lips, to give praise to the King of the universe. Yahweh, we thank you today, and we praise you for being our Elohim. We are truly sorry for abandoning you. But Yahweh, let us use that same hard-hearted and that stiff-neckedness, Yahweh, to be stiff-necked and hard-hearted towards those things that are against us. Let us be stiff-necked towards the gods of the nations. Let us be hard-hardened towards those who try to convince us there's another Elohim. Let us use those qualities that's in us. You said that we're hard-hearted. You said that they were stiff-necked people. Let us use those characteristics, Yahweh, to bring us back to you. They've been used in a very negative way, but we can turn them into a positive, Yahweh. And we thank you. I thank you for all that are online. And I thank you for their families. And I thank you for their children. We thank you for your Torah. We thank you for your Mishpatim and your Kukim and your Moedim, Yahweh. We thank you for the appointed time. We thank you for the celebration, Yahweh, to celebrate you. We thank you for the work that we have done over this last season of Torah portions, Yahweh. We thank you for your language, and we thank you for your patience and your kindness towards us and your mercy. Oh, we thank you, Yahweh, for your grace. Help us, Yahweh. Help us to continue to keep your words and to honor your commands, to honor you as our Father and our Maker and our Protector. You are the potter and we're the clay, Yahweh. We dare not to ask you, what hast thou made? And who are you the Father of, Yahweh? We don't understand all things. You are impossible to fully understand, Yahweh. You're incomprehensible. But what you have made known to us, we thank you for. You said that the secret things belong to you, but those things revealed to us and our children are so that you and I could keep the Torah. Hallelujah. We thank you, Yahweh. May those in the Shamayim and those who are in your presence today, Yahweh, may they continue to give you glory. May those on the earth turn their face towards you, Yahweh, and give you glory. Hallelujah. We thank you, Yahweh. Toda Rabbah, Yahweh. Hallelujah. We expect for you to return, to come and to regather us, Yahweh, to bring us back home, settle us in our land, give that which you've promised to our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Remember the land, Yahweh. Remember her. Thank you for the rest that you've given her while we've been exiled in the land of our enemies. We thank you for not forgetting the covenant that you made with our fathers, Yahweh, the ones at Mount Sinai. Hallelujah. Toda Rabbah Yahweh. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Toda Rabbah Yahweh.
Fire.